La la. Hello peeps and welcome back to Project Hospital. Welcome back to Campaign 3, where we are revamping the big hospital bit by bit, and as we do it we're taking in-depth looks at different aspects of the hospital and different types of staff that work in the hospital. And today we're going to be taking a close look at diagnostic units and the diagnostic doctors that work in them. That's what we are going to do. Now, we've just started the night shift, as you can see. And something that I promised that I would do in the last episode, and I did indeed do that, is just fix up the walk-in clinics, the doctor offices in the other departments. So we can see here, which department is this? This is the orthopedy department, so you can see here that I have, oh, shall we fast forward it? Let's get a member of staff in one, and they might turn on the lights. Wouldn't that be nice? And you can see here that we've actually as well managed to, because these offices were much bigger before, if you recall. So we've actually freed up space here enough to shift this cleaning closet back and claim back that space in reception. So that'll be nice at some point to do. So there we go. Now there is a little bit of difference in equipment between these rooms. We discovered that with I think we did internal medicine, didn't we? Well, with the orthopedy office we didn't need the audio. There was an audio scanner thing for the other. I was going to go find it, but we won't. What we need instead is this setup here that you can see. So this is an EMG, this gadget here, this computer. So it's an electromyograph, I think you would pronounce it, not entirely sure, is used to measure electrical signals in muscles. So this is what they have in the orthopedy department. Makes sense, and it replaces that other piece of equipment. And we can see here it needs a proper desk, so we've put in a single square table for it. It wouldn't go on the stainless steel stand or anything like that. It needs a proper table. They don't need the eye chart, so I've removed that, and it needs a stool here and it needs a stool here, and I presume that that's where the patient would sit down so that they can measure this muscle response. So there we are. That's the difference with that office, but as you can see it's largely the same. All I've done is change up the colours, and then finally we also did, I believe this is the general surgery. Indeed it is, and I've checked over all the doctors and they match the criteria that I spoke about in that episode, and to be honest, the general surgery doctor's office is pretty much identical to the emergency one. They need the eye chart and the same bits of equipment, and that is it. So this is pretty much the same thing with just the colours switched up again. So there we are. So I did do those bits, and we've got two, and I think this one had 3. You know, we're not looking too much at how busy the place is at the moment, and I'm looking forward to the janitor episode, because this hospital's getting more and more dirty as time goes on. Now I've had a wealth of ideas of how we might deal with the diagnostic units. Now diagnostic units are used for hospitalized patients. Okay, so anybody that is in a ward, if they need any kind of diagnosis procedure happening, so we can see here that they're taking CBC sampling and they're going to do an ECG, although they might need to go to a cardio. Yeah, they do. So any sort of these examinations, that's the word I'm looking for, examinations, they will come to these rooms. This is, I suppose, the hospitalized patient's equivalent of a walk-in doctor's office. That's the difference. One's a doctor's office for walk-ins, and the other one is a doctor's office for hospitalised patients. But the game puts the doctors for these rooms in the doctor's office over here, the on-call room. They don't put them directly in the diagnostic unit like they do with these doctor offices over here. So, as I say, I've had a wealth of ideas of how we might be able to redesign this room, and I tell you, there's so many ideas that I have, and I've struggled to come up with which one that I would like. Let's cover the doctors first of all. So what department are we in actually? Is this internal medicine? This is internal medicine, and we can see here in internal medicine that I've dedicated these desks over here to doctors that work in diagnosis only. Okay, so these two, and we're on the night shift, so we'll look at the night shift members of staff here. So we have Kate King, who's currently fulfilling her needs, and over here we have Nancy Adams, and you can see the patients that they're currently looking after. They've got 3 each, which is not too bad actually. Now again, very similar to your doctor's office and those diagnostic doctors, again you would probably working towards a specialisation in diagnosis would be fantastic. And then again for the traits up here, there you go, advanced diagnosis. And then again up here in the traits there are what are they, the diagnostic genius and all that sort of business. In fact, we probably have one over here. No, we don't. Typical. I can't show it off. Maybe over here. Is there a doctor sitting at her desk there? There's definitely one here. He doesn't. It's not my day, is it? Where are you going? Do you? Oh. No. Okay, fine. Well, I covered them in the other episodes. You'll know what they're called. You probably remember it better than I do. Another really great trait, actually, for these doctors to have is going to be not causing discomfort during examinations. That would be a fantastic one. I would say that hands down that's the one that you want as traits. Up here, we haven't been so lucky. We've got somebody who's late to work, although what's this one? Comforting, there you go, does not cause discomfort during examinations. So Nancy is often late for work, but she doesn't cause discomfort during examinations. So she might be something like CBC sampling is actually causes a lot of upset to a patient. It's not very nice at all. But Nancy here would be able to complete that procedure and the patient would be fine, and that's invaluable for keeping this prestige up really, really high. I mean, look at our prestige at the moment. I mean, 100%. It's really, really fantastic, and that's because we're employing people like Nancy. That's right. So allowed roles, if you just have diagnostics set, where's Nancy's fulfilling these? If you just have the diagnostic set, that is literally all they do. And what does that mean exactly? What is it that they do? So, well, they sit at their office desk, tapping away, like Kate here is. They spend, I suppose, most of their time going to one of these diagnostic unit rooms to perform the examinations, but they also will come to the ward and do their rounds. So they will come and check on patients, I think usually once a shift, just to come and check on patients. I think they might only see the patients that they're taking care of, not 100% sure. To be honest with you, if we speed this up, we might be able to see a bit of work happening. Wouldn't that be a thing? Because at the moment they do seem to be pretty idle. This is the thing about the nighttime shift, right? But they do have patients under their care, so something would be nice if we could see them. Maybe I should auto-saving, skip today, so that we can actually see quite a lot of work occurring. Do you know what? That's what we'll do. We'll skip today. Okay, so here we are. Daytime shift, and we're with James Anderson. Look, he's got quite a few peeps to look after at the moment, performing blood transfusion for Sarah Jackson. Seems to be the first patient that he has there. And he just, so it looks like that he is at his desk there because he just got some experience for that. So it seems that he will also prescribe the drugs. That's the word I'm looking for. Prescribe the drugs so that the patient care nurse will on the ward then go ahead and give those medicines out, which we had a look at in detail on our wards and nurses episode in depth. And you can see that he does that work at his PC, but now that he actually needs to perform an examination on Susan Jackson, so he's doing sort of the full works on Susan here. So he has come to one of these diagnostic rooms, which is fantastic, and one of our nurses that does nothing but patient transfers has brought Susan Jackson from the ward where she is staying to do this examination, and as we know, he just prescribed this blood transfusion to get that done for her, which is fantastic. So he's now completed that examination and he's going back to his desk, and she's going to be taken back to her bed, right? And we can see here that drawing blood and the blood transfusion has actually caused discomfort, which means we've lost a star here. And I don't believe that any of these symptoms, all these symptoms are quite low. They don't really have any discomfort. So none of these treatments here will actually increase her comfort. So this is why it can be really good to have one of these diagnostic doctors that doesn't cause discomfort during examinations, because that means that Susan Jackson's discomfort level would still be perfectly fine. She wouldn't be uncomfortable in any way, and that would help with our prestige here. So, you know, it's a small thing, but the more it's happening across your hospital, the larger the impact, of course. So look, we sent her home apparently. Oops, now I've just sent her home again. I wanted to undo that. So what's here? Let's just have a look at poor Brooke here, who's collapsed, and for some reason we were going to send her, I've sent her home, which I really don't want to do. I think that we should probably send her to the ICU, as we have all sorts going on here. She was only given antibiotics. That didn't go very well at all, did it? So IV antibiotics, hospitalization required. Yeah, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll give her those for the abdominal cramps. Hopefully they won't. I don't want to send her home. I think I may have dealt with that. So he went back to his office. He is now coming back to a different diagnostic room, as you can see, to perform an interview with Frank here. So he's dealt with Susan. She's gone to the bottom of the queue, and next up is Frank Robinson. Again, we would presume that receptionists, we know that receptionists, when they are triaging patients, sorts out the order of importance that they get seen. I'm not sure really if that happens here. He's a low risk, low, unknown hazard, medium. So no, the medium. Interesting. So there doesn't seem to be an order of importance here as far as I can work out. We can see here that while he is waiting for this patient to be brought by a transfer, he just sits there typing. That's time taken out of his day while he's waiting for a nurse to bring Frank to this room, and that can cause these high queues, critical queues. The amount of time that this doctor is sitting in or standing in this room waiting for a patient to arrive will clock up that crucial time of, if this room is in critical use. Doesn't necessarily mean that there's a lot of patients going in and out of it. He's just James was just there waiting. So that it can be a good sign that you may need more transfer nurses. So here he is doing various different examinations on poor Frank here. He is doing it. What's going on here? Oh look, we have found things. It's happening over here for Brooke. We managed to get her onto the ICU, so they should take care of her. She should be okay. Good. So Frank's going through his various examinations, and then he's going back to the office, auto-saving. There we go. So he goes back to his office. Now he's doing his patient rounds. So let's have a look here. I've got a feeling that he will only see the patients that are on his roster, right? Okay. But let's, rather than everybody. So let's see. Who does he go and see? So he's gone to see, is that Elizabeth? Yep. And she's been checked by the doctor. So that's really, really great. And Elizabeth, is on his rounds. You see he's skipping patients there, but he's gone to Paul, who's on his roster. But see, this lady here isn't on his roster, Barbara. But he's gone to see Judy here, who is... Judy? Yeah. So yeah, I think he goes to see the patients that are on his specific roster. And so the other diagnostic doctor, I presume, would go and see the patients on their roster. So, and I believe that he only does that once a day. He does the rounds once a day, I believe. And then he gets back into his diagnostic room. And as you know, sometimes occasionally at his desk, he'll also prescribe drugs for the ward nurses to administer to the patients. And that seems to be what this diagnostic role does in its entirety for any doctors you have in the on-call room. So then it came to the decision of designing my own diagnostic unit room. And I've had so many ideas. So like the doctor's office, I thought maybe we could put a doctor's, an on-call section right in the diagnostic unit room, similar to what we have done in other areas. As you know, we mix rooms together in order to get multifunctional spaces. And I thought instead, to save him walking to and from his office, and just save on that time, we could just plop him straight in, put his office straight in the diagnostic room, right? So that's one option that might help reduce the amount that he's walking around, and that means that he can also deal with his needs right in this diagnostic room, and then he would only really need to leave to go and do the patient rounds, right? So that's I think a legitimate idea. Something else that you could also do is possibly double him up with a nurse who just does patient transfers. So putting in a small nurse's station in with him that also has a stretcher, so that she is always available to instantly get patients to and from that specific diagnostic room might be nice, although she is also inclined to go and do patient transfers from all other locations. That's absolutely a thing as well. This patient is collapsing, is she? Maybe we should send her to the ICU. They won't let me. They'll deal with it. So, you know, I thought that might also be something that you could do just to try and reduce waiting times in that space as well. So that's another idea that I had for the diagnostic unit. Something else about the diagnostic unit is that you tend to build up a collection of them. So I thought maybe instead of the diagnostic unit becoming quite large, because an on-call space, the smallest on-call space that you can make is 4x4. The smallest diagnostic unit that you can make is 4x4. And the smallest nurse's station that you can make is 4x3. So imagine trying to put all of those together. This diagnostic unit would start to become quite large. What's going on here? Blimey. God, things are a bit rough over here for you, aren't they? Yeah, don't like this at all. What else is making her uncomfortable? Just the vomiting. That's fine. Well, these will stop the vomiting and we'll get her on these meds. Yeah, blimey. The dehydration. So rehydrate her. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. So that's, you know, becoming quite a large room, and I think there's an argument to be made for making the diagnostic units perhaps a little bit smaller, even smaller perhaps than the size that we've got here, which I believe is a 6x6, you know. So I'm toying with the idea of making it a much smaller room, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with just a simple option of making this smaller rather than going for something quite extravagant. I also considered a 2 for the price of 1 type, which is not true at all. It would cost twice the amount. But I was thinking maybe if we did, you know, for the surgery, in the surgery episode, I have a surgical team office where it has 3 doctors and 2 nurse desks together in one room. And I thought, what if I did something like that with diagnostic units, 2 doctors, 2 nurses between 2 diagnostic units. So that could be a thing as well. So they're all really close to it. That's another option. I haven't had time to build all these methods and test them all out to find out which one could potentially be the best. So that's absolutely something that you do it, peeps. You build these rooms and test them out and let me know if you do what might be or what is working, seemingly working at the best with that, because I'd quite like to know, to be honest. I'd like to know. We've got a lot of patients collapsing. This tends to happen when you start speeding up the game. Okay, fine. Yeah, so we want to follow James here, who we can see is very busy. He's got a lot of patients on his roster, and he's he really does need to fulfill his needs at the moment. Is he going to go to the toilet? No, he's going back to the workplace, and then he'll probably instantly get back up and go to the toilet. What's going on with you? God, let's see here. All right. I mean, yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. He's got a lot of patients on his roster, so he's getting quite tired. Yeah, so let me know if you do test out those various options. Given that I'm not building a luxury hospital or like my big hospital sandbox thing at the moment, and we're trying to make everything fit in here, what I am going to do is build, I think, a diagnostic unit that tries to reserve space as much as possible. So something like 4x6. I'm going to see if that's actually at all feasible. Shall we see if it's actually doable? What we will do, let's slow this down. And we can see here, look, critical, high, medium. You know, they do get quite busy. What we'll do is we're on the ground floor at the moment. We will make them use this one because I'm going to destroy this one. We're going to destroy it. That's what we're going to do right now. So we're just going to pop. And what we will also do, I think, is, so we want to make sure we are on internal medicine. Let's just destroy this. So a diagnostic unit is up here. Diagnostic unit at internal medicine department provides examination and treatment procedures for hospitalized patients. Certain treatments that, yeah. So can we make it fit in this space? That's what I want to know. What has to be in here? If we quickly grab and just, if we wanted to make it this size, what are we looking at here? So we can see these orange ones here are the must-haves. The stretcher is optional, which we're not going to put in. I have removed the stretchers from these diagnostic rooms to try and encourage nurses to always use the stretchers in and around the wards. It might just help reduce their running around, although we've still got some erroneous ones in here. Although these nurses are getting very, very busy. These are very big wards. They're running around like headless chickens, so it's possible I'm going to be deleting these. In fact, I would like to delete them, so why not just do it now? Because I'm thinking about putting in another desk over here. Right, so anyway, we need to put in the examination table, of which I kind of like the idea of it being green. Okay. And Let's see here. Now, as this is we might step up from a disinfectant dispenser. We might step it up to a proper sink. Do you know? We might just do that. We might give it a proper sink. Like this. Don't know. Do we want that sink? I don't know. Or do we? Maybe we'll just keep the disinfectant thing, because the disinfectant means that we don't need a lab sink, a sink, or a kitchen sink, right? So it's just as long as they've got a way of washing their hands. So we've gone for the disinfectant, and we're also going to go for one of these two bins. We're going to take the biohazard bin. So that's those two taken care of. I think I might go for the equipment cabinet tool, which will satisfy all of these. They do need an eye test poster, so in that goes. Now, they actually need, look, a mobile workstation. A mobile workstation provides mobile workspace for doctors in certain rooms. So what we can notice is that a lot of these, in fact, I would say almost all of these, in fact, yes, all of these items are what goes into a doctor's office. The only thing that is different here is this mobile workstation. This is what makes it a diagnostic unit, as far as I can work out. Otherwise, it seems to be exactly the same. We'll pop in the medical light, which covers these two. And then we've got various bits of equipment that we need that we have seen in the doctor's offices before. So something we could do is put in another one of these cabinets, because we can actually pop bits and bobs on top of them. So we might do that. And something else that might look nice. Oh, I know, hang on. Oh, and we didn't use these in the doctor offices. These are just, as far as I'm aware, just decorations. They don't actually do anything, but maybe we could have one in here as a nice little prop. Now, we could use the mobile workstation. Maybe we could put a bit of equipment on here. There we go, which is that spirometer, which I forgot the name of earlier. I mean, we could put in another one of these medicine cabinets. That is absolutely a thing. Does this look, that can't put that on there, can't put that on there. We've picked that up in error. That's not what I wanted. No, okay, that won't go on there. So this is pretty useless to us. There's an equipment table that we could use, and there's a stainless steel stand that we could potentially use. So let's see here. Yeah, this will go on either. It'll go on there or there. So I've got to be honest, I kind of like that. This does look a little bit big for that, doesn't it? So we might get rid of this table. So this is the sort of thing that we are looking at. It's working okay for me. Not the layout quite yet. I've just sort of thrown it together for the moment. But it's not too bad, is it? Is there a sensible place to put a stool? I just feel like a stool somewhere might be nice for this room. It looks like a room that might benefit from a stool. I don't know. And do we like the idea? I mean, because I think they do have a sink. Do they have a sink? They... Oh, look. That's quite a good idea, isn't it? These shelves. So these are absolutely necessary for surgery. Those shelves. Let's see if I can find them. Here they are, scrubs, you see. It makes sense why now, doesn't it? We could put one on the wall. I can imagine them needing to get gloves and stuff like that for examinations. What's this? Wall mounted, oh, lab shelf. Yeah, that looks a little bit weird over here. Okay. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not sure if we need anything else that's here. Maybe a privacy curtain? How do we feel about a privacy curtain? Given that this whole room is to promote privacy, I'm not really sure that we do actually need it. So it's definitely possible, isn't it, to get a diagnostic room down into a 6x4. There is absolutely no doubt about that. What would be a better window setup, do we think, here? Because these don't look terribly great. Maybe blinds, and then we've got that option of closing them, right? We've got the option of closing them. Now they don't actually need to get all the way around this examination table. We can move it up against the wall. That is actually possible. Do we want to do that? Maybe. Let's see. And it's actually picked it up with the light, which is really quite nice. What looks better at the end of the bed? I think it probably is this. You know, kind of like that. At the same time, will that go there? Okay. Yeah, I think it will actually. You know, I think that looks kind of smart. Looks pretty smart. Do you not think? I think it looks pretty smart. Yeah. Could see how it'd be great to put the doctor's office in here as well, right? We probably don't need to. What if we? But then he can't use. Dunno. Because we do need all of this. Just seems like we're putting it all up into the corner unnecessarily. You know, you really can get it into a much smaller space, right? You really can. You know, do we play with the idea of putting at very least a nurse's station? I don't know, because the diagnostic unit, how much have we? Yeah, 4x4. So the nurse's station actually wouldn't fit there. The nurse's station needs one more. So, well, that's good to know. So it definitely wouldn't go there. Just thinking that, you know, we don't actually need this much staff. It's hard to know what to fill it up with. So maybe we will put the sink in just because we've got the space to do it. Maybe we could put in one of these screens as well, just because, you know, we can. We've got the room to do it. Yeah. Okay. What if, given that we've got this unusual space here in the corner, if we put the table in, mind you, no. I was thinking we could make it look a little bit like a corner desk, but you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We will. This, honestly, the eye test things really get on my nerves. Maybe if we pop that over there, that might be okay. And then we might pop the disinfectant thing over here with this. That can go above it. That works. Okay. And then we've got cabinets. Cabowits. So what do we think would be best in here? Probably not a lab sink. I don't know if I want it to be one of these sinks, or if I'd actually prefer it to be a kitchen sink. I've got a feeling I might prefer it to be a kitchen sink, which means that a cabinet might be best for it, right? A cabinet might be best. Mix that with one of these. Let's get that out of the way a minute. Right, something like this. and then delete this. Something like this. Like that, so they can get their gloves and that and have a wash, right? Don't know if we'll put that there. To be honest, don't know if we'll put that there. And then we do have the option of sticking this in. I don't know where they... I feel like that might get in the way of bringing patients in, right? I feel like that might get in the way. We could bring the windows more this way, just give them just a little bit more privacy here, perhaps. That might be nice. Oh, do you know what we could do? We could get a planting, couldn't we? Could get a planting, make it just a little bit nicer. A little plant, little planty, and I'm thinking, oh, a bin. Do you know, it's not terrible. Oh, yeah, we've got a bin. I kind of like the look of that bin as well. Do you know what I mean? I kind of like the look of that bin. Should I put this over here? Maybe we'll put that over there. I kind of like it being by the bed. I got a feeling like it, almost like it would be used more. Do you know? Do you know what I mean? Put a clock up. That makes sense to me. You know, to put in an info poster of some kind. What department are we in? Internal medicine. So maybe like digestion poster. It's a digestion poster. Does that work? What about a poster on the liver? You know, veins. Oh yeah, veins poster. Don't know. I got a feeling though that this room might be alright. What do we think? I think it might be. It might actually be okay. Okay, and I think it's decorated pretty good as well, given that we've built it in the right department. So what I might do is save this as a prefab, right? So what we're going to do is yeah, save. So this would be a diag unit, and this is for internal medicine. Save. There we go. Oh yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I think it's kind of nice. And they will fit into smaller spaces now. Do you know what I mean? They'll fit into smaller spaces. I think, would we be able to get 3 across here? Probably. To be honest, I reckon we would be able to. So what I will do is put these across here. And I'll probably cut them down. I say to 2 because I've only got 2 diagnostic doctors, right? So we'll cut them down to 2. And we can always expand later if we feel that we need to, and we'll get one of these rooms and a diagnostic doctor to go with it. But I've only got 2 diagnostic doctors, so it feels silly having 3 of these rooms. I can't use all 3. So we'll do that. And to be honest, with the workload that he's got here, I think we are going to need more diagnostic doctors. And then I will also build them across here and check over my doctors. So we got a beautiful gentleman here, Thomas, who again has a massive workload. Look at that. Blimey. Blimey. But yeah, and I'll make them across all departments ready for the next episode. Let me know if you're enjoying watching the building. I can't imagine it's terribly exciting, but maybe we could do some building in certain episodes, and in other episodes we can spend more time actually watching the hospital and mucking in with the staff and just mix it up a bit. But let me know how you've been enjoying the building, and I shall get all these sorted out. And maybe next time we'll start to take a look at a different type of staff member, because I think we've sort of covered all the nurses and doctors now. So I'm thinking it's time to get into technologists, and we'll start with things like the sonography and cardio room and stuff like that before we head in to the labs. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, please hit that like button. As long as you are here, why not take your first step on the path to total coolness by supporting me via Patreon. The cooler you are, the harder I work, which means even more SHIZWAH.